The only way you get time in football is good results on the pitch. We're trying to play a certain way, we don't have the players. We needed to be knocking on the door every year and we weren't. There's no real bond with the fans. Nobody wants that. Nobody.
So there's no doubt it obviously went wrong with all these exciting players that you bought last season. What are the challenges ahead for Marco Silva on the pitch? What does he need to do? What does he need to fix from last season?
He needs to create his own team. Now, that's going to be difficult because you've got players at Everton at the moment in the team left over from the Moyes era. That's how patchwork this team is.
That's 1, 2, 3, 4 managers.
You got a little bit of Moyes in there. You got a little bit of Martinez there. You've got little bit of Monaco, little bit of Koeman. Yeah, a little bit of Monaco as well. And obviously you've got Sam Allardyce signings as well. So you've got four managers, very different in their approach.
And Silva's known for having a very clear approach. It's not like really any of them.
So
really.
So that's his biggest challenge. His biggest challenge is getting the players and wanting them to play in a style that will allow Everton to tick over and then get more signings in. So I think this window's been really difficult because it's quite short. He's been trying to put a style on the pitch, which hasn't, pre-season results haven't been that good because we're trying to play a certain way and we don't have the players. Phil Jagielka, 36-year-old, and he really is our best centre-back, and that's really worrying.
Yeah.
And you've got 3 of the back 4 of Moyes' team. That's how reliant on Moyes defenders we are because they are the only ones who sort of understand Everton Football Club. Because that's the other thing when you get, and you'll know this, when you get a high turnover of players, it's really hard to get players who fully understand how your club works, the identity of your club, because a lot of them are like, I've only been here 5 minutes. It doesn't really matter. I might be out the door, but 5 minutes later. So we don't have too many players who fully understand what it means to be Everton players, and the ones we have got are Phil Jagielka, Leighton Baines, and Seamus Coleman. And although they've not won anything, they've experienced the ups and downs of being an Everton player and what it means to really have to fight for wins and get them and finish top 5, top 6, which we did do. I mean, this is what people forget. Under Moyes, we regularly finished top 5, top 6 nearly every single year. Now, if you think about that now, you're lauded if you do that now. The top 4 seem to be the top 4 then, and no one else really broke into it. Whereas now the top 6 feels a little bit interchangeable, and that's what we didn't create under Moyes. We needed to be knocking on the door every year, and we weren't.
Yeah, and you've seen other teams take that step, and there's no reason why you couldn't have done that.
And that's where, when you go back at that time, it's so frustrating that if Moyes had the money, I think we would have become one of those interchangeable teams, because the team was always one player away from being a decent side or a decent squad. You only have to go back to 2009 when we got to the cup final against Chelsea. No Phil Jagielka, he had a knee problem. No Mikel Arteta, he was out for a year injured. No Yakubu as well, he was like our top striker at the time. It was a host of injuries, and we somehow still...
Players in their prime as well.
Yeah, and we somehow still got to a cup final, and I think we finished 5th that season. So we had those years where we were so close. And those players went through that, but these players, a lot of them are just throwaway players. There's no real bond with the fans. If you feel a bond with a player, you will excuse them.
Totally.
You will excuse them performances as long as you know that they will run through brick walls for you. Someone like Seamus Coleman, who all Everton fans feel should be our captain now. The things he says after games, he'll come out and go, we need to stop talking about managers. These are the same set of players that have got 4 managers sacked. They were his words.
Right.
So he's being as open as he can. We need a period now of just leaving this manager to get on with his job, to build a team, and a team that we can get behind and go, through the ups and downs of football with, rather than just swapping and changing all the time, because all that creates is just everyone's a bad guy to a fan. Everyone, I don't like him, and I don't like him, and I don't like him, and it's just like, well, if you don't like me, I won't like you, and then those relationships are never forged.
So the challenge ahead off the pitch is, I was going to talk about the board and the amount of changes there, but also it sounds like a connection with the fans is something that you just haven't had for a good couple of seasons.
It's been lost, completely lost. Martinez's first season it really was there. There was a real connection. Everyone at the club loved him. All the staff loved him because he was so friendly and warm and
nice. Is that
just
winning football games though?
No, it wasn't. It genuinely wasn't. He was such a nice person, and I remember going into Everton's training ground to interview him, and I remember speaking to one of the member staff, and he was just like, he's so nice, isn't he? He's much nicer than the last fella. I think ultimately that made him soft. Moyes should take his coat off and square up to players and say, come on then, me and you, let's see what happens. People started to take liberties with Martinez. Timekeeping, I believe, with players was really bad. You start to disrespect your manager because you can get away with whatever you want. And I think that was half the problem.
So yeah, I think you're probably hoping with Silva that there's a balance there between, because he does have that slight Martinez way about him in terms of being coming across quite nice, but you hope that he's just got that little bit more steel about him.
I don't see that. I really don't. What I see is a.
I mean, he showed his ambition, hasn't he? Trying to get away from what?
Well, cool. Well, yeah. Say none. They'll probably sue me. I think he's really quiet, and I think when he speaks, he says exactly what he wants to say without saying anything else.
Do you think the turnover at board level? Do you think is that a challenge for Marco Silva this season, or it's going to be a new thing for him regardless?
No, it's not going to. It shouldn't matter. Everton now have got a structure in. They've got a new board in. They've got a new director of football in, and that should be that. As far as we're concerned, we've just things are happening at the club. The stadium is ongoing. We're waiting for a few things to drop in. It's a very complex situation. The stadium, which is it really is complex. It's a lot of things that are out of Everton's hands that are just going to take time to be sorted out. They've just moved into new offices and things like that just point you in the right direction. So I think that should all be fine. It just needs time to bed in. The only way you get time in football is good results on the pitch or progress, just a steady progress, and that's what we need to see this season.
So what do you see happening this season? What does your head say and what does your heart say when it comes to Silva and this team?
I imagine we'll finish around where we finished last season. I don't think we're anywhere near capable of getting into the top 6 at this point. I just don't think that we have the players. It's as simple as that. You need players to play a particular style, and just don't think we've got them. You know what? We could have kept Sam Allardyce and finished in the same position or thereabouts. But what are you getting from that? All you're getting is poor football. It's only going to ever get you that sort of 7th or 8th every season. Right? You might attempt to break into the top 6 if one of them drops off. Whereas with Silva, if it clicks, that's football that you can keep playing and playing and playing. And that's what Spurs have done. Spurs have played a system with and got the players in, and are now top 4 every season, Champions League nearly every season. So it's about building that momentum. As I said, we could have happily just sat round 7th with Sam Allardyce and been safe every year. To the outside world, it might seem like we've taken a bit of a risk, but would you really want to sit there as a fan and watch Sam Allardyce's football week in and week out? No, nobody wants that. Nobody.
That's a good end. Nobody wants that. Nobody.